Welcome, welcome, bienvenue, Jalasi. Thank you for being with us here today for our fireside chat promoting equity in early childhood in Atlantic Canada. Wabanaki is a Mi'kmaq word that describes where the sun rises first, or the dawnland, and one that also describes the eastern location of the work that will be highlighted on Turtle Island this evening. We are excited to have you all with us this evening, both in person and also through our live stream on YouTube. My name is Jessie Lee McIsaac, and I'm an associate professor at Mount St. Vincent University in the Faculty of Education and the Department of Child and Youth Study, and I'm a Canada Research Chair in Early Childhood, and I direct the Early Childhood Collaborative Research Center. Before we begin, I will start by acknowledging that for those of us that are gathered here in person today, our feet are located in Chibuktuk, Halifax, part of Mi'kma'ki, the unceded ancestral territory which remains the homeland of the Mi'kmaq Nation. Personally, as a multi-generational settler, my family and our ancestors have benefited from treaties of peace and friendship signed in the 1700s, which has resulted in the displacement of Indigenous people as a result of our settlement generations ago. The treaties that were govern the living and ongoing agreements that establish the rules for an ongoing treaty relationship between nations. In recognition of our role in reconciliation, the team at the Early Childhood Collaborative Research Center is continuing to take time to learn and understand our shared history, to recognize the rich contributions through amplifying Indigenous knowledge and stories, to take action by partnering with Indigenous governance and local Mi'kmaq communities, and to teach others by uplifting and amplifying Indigenous knowledge and stories. We give thanks to the knowledge embedded in the Mi'kmaq custodians of the lands and waters, and to the elders past, present, and future. We're very grateful and honored to have Elder Charlotte Bernard with us here this evening to begin our event with a blessing.
To smudge with me, and then after I'm going to go over down by the sign over there, and if any of you wanted to smudge, you're welcome to come and smudge yourself.
Can I just fix your microphone for a sec? Your microphone's not working. Do you mind just reaching your pocket? Just give that microphone a little bit of a tossle.
Hello? Hello?
Let me just have a quick look.
It's got green on it. Oh, there we go.
There it goes. Yeah. Let's try that.
Apparently.
Let's see if it's stay. Try that.
Hello? Merry Christmas?
Let me just try to swap the microphone.
Okay.
I'll swap that.
Okay. Just gonna swap it in. All good. All good. As I stand here, my stomach's going, okay, I'm all right. These people are safe. They all work with children and each other, then I am more than safe.
Okay, let's try this.
Okay, anyway, I'm going to continue. Quay, named after my St. Solid Vanilla. Hi, my name is Charlotte Bernard, and I said that in Mi'kmaq. I'm not a fluent speaker. I was born in Sabaganagati, which is in Shubenacadie, where the residential school is located. And my community is mostly non-Indigenous speaking, but I'm trying to reclaim it with my children and my communities, and yeah. I have worked in the Friendship Center, and under the umbrella of the Friendship Center, I worked in the Mi'kmaq Child Development Center for 9 years. I was the holistic family worker. And then I moved on and I worked at the actual Friendship Center, and I did intakes to all clients, new clients coming into the Friendship Center. It's what we didn't want, but it's all good. All right. You know what, life is, life is, yes. Thank you, dear. All right. So one of the songs that I'm going to sing is one, every 2 weeks, I go to the Mi'kmaq Child Development Center, and I sit with all the different classes. We have the babies, 18 months to 2 years. We have the middle classroom. We have 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. And then we have the Aboriginal Head Start 4+ class. So I work with all classes. And with the babies, I kind of just sit around and drum my drum. Some of them take the drum, whatever. And I sing traditional songs. The 3-year-olds and the 4-year-olds and the 4+, I do drum. They have their own drums, and we just sit and we have fun. I do crafts with them. Just spend time with them. Children are fascinating, and every one of them is special. And I know working with the 4+, we have some children that are autistic, but they're undiagnosed yet because they're too young. But, you know, there was one little girl who was in the classroom all last year in the 4+. So whenever we did anything, she never really joined. She was there. She didn't really talk. And then I think about January, February. Her first words to me were, "Bye, Charlotte." "Okay, I'm just coming here, darling. Hi." She's like, "Bye, Charlotte." Okay, she acknowledged me. I was so proud. And by the time she graduated in June, we were at the graduation, and she graduated, and she was starting to be verbal, and it was just so incredible, the opening up of this child. And when I was asked to come here today, I really thought about that equity. It is different from equality and equity, and especially, you know, for me, that has such deep meaning because the residential schools has changed. You know, from when my parents went to school to when I went to school and to when my children went to school. And now I have an 18-year-old, but she did go to school. But I look at the classrooms and the equity that is shown in our daycare or in the Sabaganagati school. You walk into that school and languages everywhere. The numbers, they got leaves, counting the leaves, and the words, they're on the floor. There's indigenous stuff all over. There's trees that are built right into the building, which is just absolutely beautiful. And to me, that shows equity. So when I go to the 4+ classroom, I play this song. It's a Maliseet song, but it's fun. And I'm going to drum it for you just because it fits the mood today. And I get them to do a snake. I find the noisiest, busiest child, and I'll be like, "Hey, you want to lead the snake?" And they're like, "Yes," and they're jumping up and down. And then I line them up, and I sing this song. And with this song, I can go faster and slower, and I get the child. But then when I get going, the child, like, freezes. "Okay, you were the busiest, the most whatever." "Okay, that's okay," but they eventually get it. Alabudgy quay, quack-quay-on-day, hey, alabudgy quay, quack-quay-on-day. Masha honey, Masha honey, Masha honey, yo, ooh, ooh. Masha honey, Masha honey, Masha honey, yo, ooh, ooh. Alabudgy quay, quack-quay-on-day, hey, alabudgy quay, quack-quay-on-day. Masha honey, Masha honey, Masha honey, yo, ooh, ooh. So it's quite fun. So thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the smudge. My daughters gave me the drum. I love it. I feel like I'm a magician. All right. Now, smudging to me is a form of praying. And basically, it's burning of 4 sacred medicines. And Indigenous people have 4 sacred medicines that across Turtle Island, it's the same. Tobacco. Tobacco is considered the first medicine that the Creator gave to us. So whenever you do anything, or, you know, tonight I came here and Jesse gave me tobacco wrapped in red material, and I'll take that, and when I go to sacred fire, I will burn them. So all the spirit of all these tobacco ties, I will burn them in the sacred fire. So tobacco is one of the medicines. Cedar. Cedar is considered healing When you burn cedar in a fire, it crackles. And they say that crackling, they can hear it in the spirit world. So whenever there's funerals or sacred fires, they tend to put cedar in it. Another one is sweetgrass. Sweetgrass, it smells beautiful, and you pick it in the spring and the summer and around swampy areas. But they say sweetgrass is the hair of Mother Earth. And they say you should do 21 strands, 7 strands in each to make the braid. And they say that the mind, the body, and the spirit encompasses the sweetgrass. So you burn that. It's beautiful, and it smells. You can put it in your bath, or if it's not smelling sweetgrassy anymore, put it in warm water and it'll reactivate it. It's amazing. So, oh yeah, sage. Sage is a purifier. It purifies the air. It also is considered a woman's medicine. For when I smell sage burning or just regular, it brings me comfort. And some women put it in their shoes or put it in their bra. I like burning it. It's the one thing that I really like burning. So I have sage in here. Now, my traditional lighter from 2 months ago. Anyways, I do have matches, but sometimes I end up burning myself, so I try to be safe. Now, I'm going to set this on fire. And then also here is my eagle feathers. Now, just like the tobacco that's wrapped in red, my eagle feathers wrapped in red also. And red, they say, in the spirit world, where my ancestors, my mom, my grandmother, my dad, my uncles, aunts, cousins, they're all there. But they say that they can see red here on earth. So that's why we wrap it in red. And eagle feathers are sacred. I have 2 of them, and that's a turkey feather, because it just is. So anyways, I was given this eagle feather. I was a crack addict. No, I was addicted to crack. And my life got really chaotic, but I beat it. Well, I didn't beat it. I'm still a crack addict. But I haven't touched crack in like 32 years. But I was gifted this eagle feather. And in order to get an eagle feather, somebody has to notice that you're doing something really wonderful in your life or good. And for me, I changed it from being that crack addict and that confused person to the person I am today. So I was gifted the eagle feather. And they say they use eagle feathers in smudging because they say eagles are the highest flying birds in society, in our world. And the swooshing of the smoke helps send the smoke and the prayers up to the spirit world with my ancestors and the Creator. So that's why they use an eagle feather. And sometimes different mixed company, if people are going to be around, I'll just use a turkey feather, it still does the same thing. It fans the flames, so that's why the turkey feather's in there. Okay, so I'm going to take off my glasses. I'm going to set this on fire. And also at the end, after I'm done, I'm going to go down by that sign over there, and I'll still have this burning, and you're welcome to come and smudge. There's no right or wrong way to smudge. There's also, you don't have to smudge. You know, I've done circles, and I went around the circle, and I tell people, if you don't want to do it, just say no thank you. Just be respectful. I'll respect you, and I'll move on. You know, I'm not here to force anybody. My 18-year-old daughter, when I used to work at the daycare, I'd smudge with the kids and smudge with clients or whatever, and I'd come home, burn myself. Anyways, I'd come home and she'd sniff me, and she was sniffing for the smudge. Now she smudges herself, which is beautiful. So I'm going to get the smoke going. I'm going to use my eagle feather to just have those embers. I don't want a fire, I want embers. And it's the smoke that I'm going to wash in. I'm going to set that up here. Now, other people use abalone shells. Every time I used a shell, they got holes in them and I burned myself. So, I have this pottery from an indigenous artist from Eskasoni, and it's just beautiful. I love it. So, I got my smoke going. Now, I'm going to wash my hands like if it was water. I'm going to cup it like it was water. And I'm going to bring it over my head. And as I'm doing this, I'm talking internally in my brain, but I'm going to talk out loud today. And I'm doing it so rudimentary. So I cup it, I get the smoke, I bring it over my brain to your Creator. Please help my brain do what it needs to do today. I cup my ears. Creator, help me hear what I need to hear today. Because we live in a world where noise is so loud and there's so much of it. Actually, it's really quiet in here today, but it's, out there it's so noisy. So I ask the Creator to help me hear. I do my eyes. Creator, help me see what I need to see today. I may have these people in front, but maybe the Creator needs me to see that person sitting way back there, all quiet or alone. And I think that with children too, right? Sometimes it's not the busiest one, or it really is the busiest one that needs your attention, but it's that quiet one that doesn't say anything, that may need our attention more. So that's our eyes. I do my mouth. Creator, help me say what I need to say. I don't memorize, I don't write down what I say, and I hope that I make sense at the end of the day, but things come from my heart. I do my mouth again, because I am human, and I have trauma in my life, and I can be quite vicious. When pushed against a wall, I could be quite vicious. So I always remember that. Humbleness, that I do my mouth twice, that I can hold back anger or wrong words, hateful words. That's not who I want to be, but I could be. If you push me far enough, I really could be. So I always do my mouth twice. Next is my heart, because our hearts are the ones that guide us when we get up, our values or whatever, and our hearts. So I always smudge my heart, and then I'll go one side, the other side. Now, I'm going to ask Jesse and Joyelle to come up, and I'm going to smudge them. And then also, if you want, I will ask them to turn around, and I'll smudge their whole backside. And I'll ask them to take their feet off the ground, each 1 foot each time. If not, you'll jump. And anyways, whoever wants to come first, get this going. All right. Like I said, there's no wrong or right way. If you forget anything, no big deal. If you do it backwards, still no big deal. All right? All right. Wash your hands. Cup it. Your brain. Your ears. Also, too, your internal dialogue. If you have anybody who's sick or you're worried about them, now is the time to throw those into your prayers, right? Okay. All right, feet up, one at a time, other side. All right, so you walk a good path. Thank you. She's doing her mouth twice. My kind of people. Kindred spirits, other side. So you walk a good path. Thank you so much. Well, all in. So I just want to say, I really hope you guys have a wonderful meeting. Your jobs are so important. You're working with children, or you're working with teachers, or you're working with ECE workers. You're starting children's lives in education. If you can make that positive, these children are going to go so far. And for me, coming from, I went to Indian day school, but I didn't know a lot of culture going through school. So I really didn't know who I was. And with my trauma, helped me lead me to be a drug addict. But that being said, finding my culture and learning who I was and who I come from and why it was disjointed through the residential school and all those other systems that were meant to change me, I'm fighting my way back to being my true, authentic Mi'kmaq woman self. And for all of you that are working with children, I thank you all, because children, They're our future. And if you can start them off you're just giving them a great start in life. So thank you all. So I will be down there. You know, you can come up anytime you want, or if you want. You don't have to. All right. Well, Lawlin, thank you so much. Have a wonderful meeting. All right.
Thank you so much, Elder Charlotte, for those wonderful opening remarks and the opportunity to be a part of that. It really meant a lot. Thank you. I would like to invite Dr. Joelle Dickinson, our President and Vice Chancellor, to the stage to provide some remarks on behalf of Mount St. Vincent University.
I forgot I had to do this for a minute, so. As always, they provide me great detailed notes that I usually promptly ignore. So I am going to speak from my heart as well tonight. Before coming to MSVU, I didn't know a lot about early childhood education. And, you know, I have said the word daycare at times. I do not say that anymore. But coming here, so part of my reason for coming to MSVU is because of the focus on removing barriers and providing access to education to those who wouldn't otherwise have it. So what I learned about early childhood education here at MSVU is the focus is exactly the same, but for that younger generation. And having toured our facility here, I've gotten to see all of the great things and all the things that Annette and the staff do to make every child make sure that they feel that they belong. And I know that everything that's done there is based out of research-based evidence, and it's just phenomenal the way that you see the kids running in with excitement to get that education. So I will say a little bit here. I do have some thank yous. We are extremely grateful for the funding from the Margaret and Wallace McCain Family Foundation. I had the privilege of speaking to the foundation board a couple of weeks ago, I think it was now. And they are just so excited about everything that we do here. So excited that they fund Jessie Lee's research from, I'm going to get this, at the Early Childhood Collaborative Research Center with Policy Focused Research. And they've done that since 2018. And in 2023, some of you may have noticed, may have heard this before, but the foundation also announced the generous legacy gift that we will be receiving of $10 million from the foundation. So kind of exciting. And we have the researchers here to thank for the for that donation. The pride that and the equity-focused work that we do here at MSVU perfectly aligns with Margie McCain's vision for what early childhood research excellence and is. So thank you to all of the researchers here and for putting on, what I focused on the board when I was speaking at the board too, is the focus on knowledge mobilization is second to none here. And I did give a shout out to the Instagram account, so maybe you got a few more followers there as well. And I know there's some students here that I see featured on that Instagram account a lot too. So I just want to give kudos to all of you as well. So thank you for that. And with that, I think you're here to hear panelists and storytelling, so you're not here to hear me. So thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dickinson. So our conversation today, as Dr. Dickinson mentioned, is made possible with the generous support from the Margaret and Wallace McCain Family Foundation. We've been lucky at the Early Childhood Collaborative Research Center to be working with a group of network partners from across Atlantic Canada and beyond to pull off this initiative, and want to recognize those here gathered with us that have been a part of our work for many years. We have been leading a number of network initiatives. There's a QR code for those on the table if you'd like to check out any of our past work. We have some beautiful graphic illustrations as well that are dispersed throughout the room. And as you see, live drawing. Also, we have our graphic illustrator here, Luis, who is drawing our conversation today as well. We do believe and really put a lot of pride in our efforts around knowledge mobilization, really wanting to ensure the link between research, policy, and practice. So this evening, we will be highlighting the rich knowledge and experience from early childhood educators across Atlantic Canada, who all bring a unique lens on the topic of equity in early childhood. We invite you to listen and reflect with intention, explore the connection across stories, and seek inspiration from our storytellers to take action in your own work. There's a listening lens on your tables that you're welcome to use to jot down some notes and perhaps think about the ways that you might be able to apply what you've learned or the way that it might help to shape your own understanding of different practices. So I will now invite our storytellers and our moderator to the stage. So come on up. I'll do a very brief introduction, but come on up. Everyone can stand up, make your way to the stage. We're really excited, and as everyone gets settled, I'll let you know that the fireside chat this evening is going to be a moderated series of questions with our 4 storytellers from across Atlantic Canada, followed by a Q&A with the audience. The storytellers and the moderator will introduce themselves throughout their storytelling, but I'll briefly just tell you a bit about who they are. First, we have a friend, a colleague, and such a well-respected early childhood educator here with us, Moshella Short. Moshella is our moderator this evening. Yay! I heard some claps. Moderator! Moshella is a mother, educator, author, and advocate, currently serving as faculty for the Afrocentric Early Learning Option of the Adult Learning Program at Akerley and the Afrocentric Learning Option and the Afrocentric Early Childhood Education programs, both at Akerley and the eCampus of the Nova Scotia Community College. So thank you for joining us, Moshella. Next, more claps, lots of claps. Next, we have Shannon Nevers, who's an owner, operator, and educator at Pitter Patter Daycare in New Brunswick. Followed by, we're thrilled to have Dantea Jones, who graduated from the first cohort of the Afrocentric Early Childhood Program at the Nova Scotia Community College. And she currently works at the Tiny Lab for Early Learning in Halifax. Next, we have Navneet Kaur, who came to Canada from India in 2019, completed her early childhood education diploma in Montreal, I believe, and then moved to Prince Edward Island. Now works at Tiny Tots Early Childhood Center in Charlottetown for almost 4 years. So welcome, Navneet. And then finally, we have Allison Johnson, who's joining us from First Light Children's Center in St. John's, Newfoundland, an urban Indigenous nonprofit child care center. So welcome, Allison. 2 years ago, we had Allison's director here up on the stage for our last fireside chat. So we're so happy to have Allison back and all of our guests here tonight. So as I mentioned, there is a listening lens on your table. I'm going to step down and let Moshella lead us forward. Thank you. Is yours working, Shannon?
I think it works. Yes.
Oh, everyone do a test?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
No.
Hers isn't working.
Do you want to pass it down?
Sharon is here. There we go. Hello, everyone. If you've heard me speak before, you've heard me say that being in a space with this many ECEs fills my bucket. And so it's an honor and privilege to be here, and it's an honor and privilege to be having this conversation with these incredible educators up here. So we're going to get right at it, right? That's the best way to do this. The first question is around defining equity, and I feel like when it comes to any of these concepts that are so key and so important to the way we work, it's always interesting to see how different educators define them based on their own experiences. So the first question, and maybe we will start with Dantea. I'm gonna mix it up a bit, and if you feel like you'd like to go next, that's fine, but I'm gonna start with Dante with this one. Dante, what does equity mean for you in your early learning environment?
For me, equity is a place where you can create a safe space for families, children, co-teachers, directors, for culture, with cultures and identity.
I love that everybody is included in that. I love that families, you're not just talking about the children in the care, but also their families and co-workers. Anyone, thank you. Anyone who'd like to go next? Shannon, I know you want to go. Go ahead. Yes, you may.
I could use my teacher voice, but I'll do this. I believe for me, equity kind of has like there's a hand in hand. Like I love with equity, we have fairness and we have justice and we have all the resources available for everyone to succeed. But I also love to put in there with freedom. With freedom, we have individual choice, we have autonomy. And if we can put those two pieces together, we can have an excellent and wonderful, inclusive, early learning environment. Thank you. And that's what I try very hard to implement when within my space and trying to create a safe space like what was already mentioned.
I love that. I love that. Like jumping, yeah, because we can't get to freedom until we understand equity, right? And so that's pretty powerful. Thank you for going there with that. Anyone else?
Hello, can you
Yeah.
hear me? So equity to me means recognizing and respecting each child's strength, their abilities, their culture, their background, without any kind of judgment. So equity focuses more on fairness. It means that giving equal opportunities to everybody in your care, but also focus on the right sport for every child. It shouldn't be based on their culture, on their race, on their ethnicity, on their developmental abilities, on their physical abilities. Like it should be focused more on the fairness.
I love that. Seeing the whole child, seeing them with all their intersectionalities and still allowing fairness and to reign. I love that very much. And last but not least, Newfoundland.
Yes, so my answer is very similar, but for me, I go towards inclusion. So, inclusion is such an important part, especially working in a First Nations Indigenous center. Equity is really important. And in my room, we have few children that have high support needs, and we have an extra staff in our room for those children, but for the whole room also. So everybody is included, and the room is equal for everybody.
I love that. Thank you so very much. Thank you. You did well for your first round. We're just warming up with the definition, but I love that each of your answers touched on a very important part of equity and was unique to your own experience. So thank you so much. When we put it all together, we have a really clear picture of what equity is. So let's look on reflection and growth now. And story time. I know you love stories, Shannon. So can you share with us a story of a time when you noticed inequity within your classroom, and then tell us how you responded to that? And I'm going to leave it open to who would like to go first.
I'll go first again. I'll go back to when I was in school. I would think I was on my second or third placement. It was me and my sister at the same school. It was pre-primary. There were two classrooms. I was in the higher volume classroom and she was in the lower volume classroom. And my mentor had issues with some of the friends in the classroom. They were really close friends. There were about 4 or 5 of them. So that kind of put other children in the shadows in the classroom. So I just suggested for her to maybe separate them because there was space in the other classroom and bring some other children into the other classroom, just so it kind of evens it out. And eventually, by the end of the placement, it did happen, and I feel like that gave light for other children to shine, as well as the individuals that were in the classroom as well.
Thank you for sharing that. What do you think from your past experience led you to kind of see the whole picture there? Because it seems like your mentor was focusing on a few, not the entire class. What from your past give you that sort of lens to be able to see the full picture?
It's honestly, I was grateful that my sister was in the other classroom because she was able to experience that. So for me to be in the present moment in my classroom, I just kind of observed it before I suggested the separation. And then I feel like she trusted me, honestly. She trusted me, and she trusted my advice. She trusted what I brought to the classroom. And I feel like that's important too, having that connection with your mentor and communicating the needs that you need as a student and also what you need from your mentor.
Love that. Yeah, because the road towards equity really is not done by one, right? Or it's not a solo journey. It's definitely teamwork. Thank you so much for that story. Who'd like to go next?
So as she's sharing like her story, so I'm gonna go ahead and share like what was happening in the classroom where I worked like for almost 3 years. So first of all, I will say that I'm not labeling anybody. I feel like inequity comes from the unawareness and less knowledge about the things that's going around with the kids. So this is a story about a girl who just immigrated to Canada like few months ago, and then she came to my classroom, and then I worked with the educator who wasn't aware about like her culture and like her background, her family practices as well. So she wasn't used to eat the lunch that they served in the daycare. So her mom used to send her little parathas. I feel like you guys all know about naan. So it's just like a different form of naan, but we use it like in the daily routine. Yeah, so her mom used to send the parathas for her like every day, and then the little girl used to eat it with her hands, and the comments were being made like, it's very messy. It's getting very messy. If the health inspectors will show up, it won't be, like it won't look good. So it was focusing more like on the rules and the regulations of the daycare instead of being like what she is feeling. So she just came to Canada like few months ago. So she needs that environment where she can feel comfortable. So for me, like I am from like her country as well. So I was pretty comfortable with like her eating with her hands. But the other educator was very unaware of like her family practices and stuff like that. So I feel like that's one of like inequity that happened in my classroom. And to overcome this, so I did like talk to my coworker and I explained her like this is a family practice to eat with the hands, and it's completely normal for her. So I talked to the parents as well, like how you guys want to do it, like you guys keep like her to use her hands, or you guys want to come to like the spoon or like fork thing. And the parents were like very cooperative. They said like they're gonna come to the spoon, but they're gonna give her some time so that she can feel belong like in the space. Like I feel like those paranthas, they were like a little source of who she is. They were telling like who she is. Like instead of having her eating nothing in the daycare, if she's eating paranthas, I'm okay with that. As an educator, I'm okay with that. So we worked on her it took us like almost like 4 to 5 months to get her used to use the spoon for lunch. But now she can eat with the spoon and she's pretty good. And my coworker, she loves naan. She loves naan. I'm saying that like it's not like she was doing wrong, like in her care, like eating with hands and getting messy, and that's the stuff that we care about, yeah. But she was unaware about like where she is coming from. So yeah, that's one of the things that I did.
Yeah, because you were able to support the child, the family, and at the same time offer some education to your coworker around that particular culture and why that child needed that. So powerful example. And again, it speaks loudly to how representation can be a tool towards equity as well. So thank you. You're gonna drop scissors.
So I went in a different lens. I kind of thought about the children and the equity between their play. I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do it, but I'm going to do it anyways. This happens a lot in childcare, and happens with, it's very developmentally appropriate, but I see it a lot where a bunch of boys are playing, and all of a sudden a girl comes up and they say, no girls allowed. And then I have to go over and remind them and say, girls and boys are all welcome here. But that seems to happen, and I think that's definitely something that happens a lot, and it's inequitable, but that's just developmentally appropriate. But I just thought I'd bring that up. It's just something that popped in my head. But yeah.
No, thank you. I think that's a great example too of like disrupting biases, right? And biases lead to inequity. Like, so disrupting it that early is pretty powerful way to stopping it. So thank you for that example. Shannon,
Yeah,
you
I
have
love that example. That was lovely. So, it's story time. So, I have a prop with my story. I do. It's very exciting. Just make sure it doesn't get out. So, this might look like a regular pizza box. It's not. What's special about this box is before I left, my daycare group I wanted a piece of them to come with me on this journey, because I'm talking about them. And so they made this beautiful box for me and painted it. And there's something very precious inside, but you have to wait till the end of the story. So, my story I want to tell is here as a licensed home daycare within New Brunswick. We're a proud group. There are about 17 homes within our sector, 17 licensed homes, and 125 just within New Brunswick, and that's a mix between English daycares and French daycares. And we have a mixed age group where it's with infants, toddlers, and preschoolers, and just us. And in my daycare, I usually keep a lot of the photos up of the daycare kids that usually have always attended. Even if they've gone on to the next adventure, I want their presence still to be part of the space. So might have new friends that will come in and might see a picture of someone, say, oh, who's that person? Who's that kid? Who's that kid? And we get to share their story. And then one day, my little group, when they were asking these questions, they went really quiet, and they seemed very upset because a photo had fallen off the wall, and they couldn't find where this photo was. And so if we searched around, we found it, oh, we can put such and such back up on the wall. But then in their hearts, they were very upset, because what if when I leave, my picture falls off the wall and you lose me and I'm forgotten? And it was such a powerful question to ask at such a young age. And so we sat down and said, that's an excellent question. Let's talk about that. How do you guys think we need to fix this? And I said, well, we need a painting, and we need to put it on the wall so it can't fall. All right, I'm game. Let's do it. So we adventured to Kent. They got to choose the paint themselves. And what was neat was that with the children who couldn't speak, the infants could gravitate towards certain colors. And they might just stare at it, or they would grab it and run it back and be like waving or crawl towards it. Or even those who could speak would articulate saying like, I love this color because it reminds me of my sandbox. And so we brought all the colors back, and then we sat down like, well, what kind of pattern can we put on the wall? And it went through like circles, shapes, a rainbow. But in the end, as a group, we were able to discuss, let's make steps. So we had these steps. So it's almost like you're with each child, like you're at the first. You get to the second, then you get to the third. And then at the end, you've reached that point of a new adventure, that new mountain to climb. And even though you might not be right here, physically here in the space, your presence, your mark, your legacy is here. And I feel this wouldn't be achieved if they just didn't have that safe space, that freedom to be able to say those things, that they knew this was where I belong and I want my mark there. And so this is the mural that they made that we put on the wall. And it's all their colors. And their bubbles are there. And some of these children are not present, like they have gone on to their next adventure. But I love how some kids who would remember them there would look back and they'd say, that's where such and such is color. I remember that. And the inequity in it was that there was a concern. They felt like they were going to be lost. They were going to be forgotten. They were not going to be remembered. And we were able to share this together on how we can leave that mark, and they'll always be remembered within this space.
Wow. So many beautiful points there. I can't close the box. That's all right. That's all right. We can put it on display. I love that because it's this idea that, first of all, that issue arose and you solved it together, right? With them, coming up with the solution for that. And that idea, too, that when we're inclusive, we leave very little room for inequity, to happen. And so, thank you, that powerful story. Thank you all for your great stories on how you address inequity when it pops up in your spaces. So now we're going to talk about quality connection. When applying an equity lens to your practice, how do you measure success? How do you define and measure success?
Should I go first again?
Yeah, you might as well just keep it going.
I measure success through relationships with families, children, co-teachers. I feel creating a safe space where children can be confident with communication, even with materials like books, things that they're interested in, that they're talking about. I feel like that creates a space where equity is successful.
Absolutely. Like having your parents happy, having the children happy and content tells you that they feel like they belong, right? So, thank you. Are we going to mix it up or we're going to go with the same? Right.
Come on, guys.
How do you know that you've achieved equity or that you're on the right track to what's achieving equity?
So when the children are excited to come in your care, like very excitedly, and they're gonna ask you like open-ended questions, and they're gonna do the conversations, and you're gonna ask them like open-ended questions, and they're gonna reply, and then they're gonna tell you the stories about their evenings or their days, like what happened with them on the weekends. So, of course, like when we practice equity in the classroom, we can see it like from the way like how children are interacting and how they are doing in their learning journey. Yeah.
Love that. Engaged little ones is a true sign of equity in this space. Absolutely.
And also like I'll add on to it. So I heard it somewhere, but they were talking about equity, and they said like when we talk about equity, it's like you can do the things where they feel discomfort. So when you practice equity, you have to go on their level and then you have to see like from their lens, you build trust on their level, and then you observe, and then you like design the whole plan. You do your lesson planning according to like their learning strengths. So this is like where like equity really happen, and it helps them like grow, learn, and build trust, and feel accepted. I feel like when you feel accepted where you are, you do much better. You do things like much better and like on higher level.
Absolutely. For sure, equity works for the children, but it works really well for educators too, right? And when our little ones are happy, there's a good chance that we're happy as well. So, thank you.
I think it's important to recognize that the statement of it was like, I'm not you and you're not me. That we're all different. We're all unique. We're all at different levels. And we can't and shouldn't be all the same. And everyone is to apply that how they see it. It's like when we almost lay out stuff for open play or open creations, and it's like, show me what you're going to make. Every child is going to create something different, and it's all going to be magical. And it doesn't matter what level they're at. It's even when they're even learning their name. Writing their name can be done in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be just with a pencil and paper. It can be in sand. It can be with Play-Doh. It can be in the air. I could use sticks. And even infants that would see older children doing this, saying, hey, I want to do that too. That looks like fun. Is not shutting it down and recognizing, let every child explore that and see what each child can do.
Wow. We've come so far from equality being the goal, right? And when that was the goal, how many little ones were left out, right? How many little ones were unseen? So, yeah, I'm happy, and I'm happy because we're here, and I'm happy because being here positions us really well to being free, to freedom, to freedom where all of our families, all of our educators, and all of the little ones that come into our space can be themselves right from the start. I didn't forget you.
Thank you. I have a story. So I had a little girl in my program who was displaying some aggressive behavior towards staff and other children. So we decided to get an inclusion support in our room. I don't know what you have here, but we have ratio enhancement inclusion. So another staff will come in the room to support, like I said, support just all the room, all the staff. So once this second or this third staff came in the room, the educators were able to create a plan for her, set her up for success. So then we're able to support her to the fact now she doesn't have any aggressive behavior anymore because we were able to have inclusion. And she's just reached all these milestones that you know, she had struggled with, and now she's like a different child, and it's because we had inclusion. I'm always talking about inclusion. That's my favorite thing. But I have a quote to share, if that's okay. Thank you. I love quotes. It's normal to want to be included, but sometimes you will be left out. Feeling excluded hurts, but it's only a feeling, not a state of being. How others treat you is not a reflection of the essence of who you are. I just thought about that today. Thank you.
Thank you. Like, I don't have anything to follow up with that. It's just, so our final question for you, and honestly, you've all been doing incredibly well, and we're super grateful for the way that you've been sharing. So, barriers and gaps. So now to the real meat of the matter. What help do you need as an educator to achieve equity for children and families? What help do you need?
I'll go first. I feel like, for me, I think you need 4 things. Number one, you need self-reflection. You need to decide what kind of educator you want to be and do a deep dive into yourself. Number two, curiosity. Dive into that curiosity with the children. Number three, ask so many questions. The more questions you ask, the better. There are no bad questions. There are no wrong questions. All questions are welcomed. And four, lean into sometimes those things that might make you feel some discomfort. Those questions like, where do babies come from? I just went to the bathroom and I saw a really funny color in my poop. Can we talk about it? My dog just died. Where did my dog go? Instead of stopping at those questions, lean into them. Like I leaned into my microphone right there for a moment, but be involved in those. Those are my top 4 things.
Powerful, powerful foundation to start off this. And I think starting it with self-reflection is really key, right? Because you don't get to feel comfortable with questions like that if you're not already comfortable with yourself. So thank you for those 4. We're going to write them down.
Well, I'll add to your 4.
Okay.
I feel like educators need the proper resources. Fair wages, they're increasing our wage. I feel like we could use more vacation time, holidays. I feel like that will give us space to be the best educators we can be. Not only is it just because, like, we're the educators, we're here for the children. Even some mental health days would be nice. I just feel like we just need a little more sometimes to be the best teachers we can be in the classroom. We have to be inside, outside. And it's just a great thing to see if we do receive that.
Thank you so much. See, we laid the foundation and now we're building. See where we're going? Thank you, Dante. That's so true and so powerful. In order for us to show up and be our best selves, there are things that we need, right? There are things we need to do. There's some inside work, but we need some help as well, too. Thank you.
So as I talk about like the newcomer families and like the immigrants, so I'll focus more on like what they need. So I feel like there is need of like more knowledge. So we can do it like through different workshops, like cultural workshops. And then we can start it like even from like the very small level, like just start it like from your classroom. Do those meetings like with the newcomer parents and like just do the parent meeting where you won't talk about like how their child is doing, but you're gonna learn like more about who they are, like where they belong, where they come from. So it's gonna help you in your planning, in your the children that are in your care. And also I feel like on the bigger level, we can provide like different workshops and then also like the resources that are there, but they don't know like those resources exist. So we can do some like, I don't know, how should I say, but like do some marketing about them, yeah, through social media or maybe through pamphlets, maybe just sending like a message like, here is this thing, this is like what's going on, and you can get more information from there. Yeah, so as we focus more on like newcomer families, so yeah, I'll say from like their side.
So you see where we're going here. First, we listen to self, we try to understand self, we take care of self, and then we listen to families and we try to understand what they need, and in that way we are able to provide them with those needs, like giving them the information about resources that are available to them. Love it.
I think that will also add on to like support in the classrooms. Like I bet if you guys, if they gave us like extra support in the classroom, that would also help benefit that as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Dantea.
How much more time we got? Because I got a lot of things to say.
We want to hear everything
okay.
you have to say.
I'm about to throw down. So I just noticed, I don't know, for a long time, that the government needs to do more. I'm sorry for the people here, but they need to do more. We need to get more people in. We have an inclusion consultant we don't see. I have children that need help. We need help. So they need to show up. They need to be there. Another thing is, of course, the wages. Like, you know, in Newfoundland we did get a raise, but we need more. Like, we're raising people's children. We are helping these children grow, and we need more support. Another thing would be, for sure, the self-care. You know, we're facing a lot of burnout because there isn't enough ECEs in the field, because a lot of people don't want to go into it because it's such hard work for a little pay. It's very rewarding, but, you know, we need more. What else? I think, yeah, that what it goes back to is, of course, the inclusion. We need more support, for sure. There's more things I want to say, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, that's it. Mic drop.
I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah, again, I said we were building something, right? And then we get to the top of it. So we've understood self, we've put in the time to understand families, and because of all of that, we understand our value, not just within our centers, but in society. And when we understand that, we need the support we need to be able to maintain that level of quality care. It doesn't come just like that. Not just by knowing self, not just by knowing families, but making sure that we say to the folks at the top that, hey, this is what it looks like for us to do this work, and this is what we need from you to be able to maintain that level of work. So thank you all so very much. I love the way in which your different experiences and perspective has added so much value to this conversation. So thank you. I wish you all the best in your practice, and I hope our paths cross again. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, that discussion, I hope, got your minds going and maybe some questions that you've jotted down, because now is the time. We have about 30 minutes for questions with our panelists and also with Moshella and her wealth of expertise. Just first, thank you, Allison, Navneet, Dantea, Shannon, Moshella. That was beautiful, and I know that there'll be some questions out there for our panel. So Abby has a mic in the back. Jeannie is going to come up and grab this one. Just feel free to raise your hand. You can feel free to direct a question to a specific person, or if it's just a general question about equity, we already have one right there, you can feel free to do that as well. If you can, please introduce yourself, locate yourself, who you are. That is also helpful to situate your question or comment.
I think. Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie. So I'm going to start with a comment before I ask my question. So my first comment is about the takeaway from the wonderful guests in front of us. So I'll say one of the takeaways I've taken is about asking questions. I think that's such a powerful thing. And when I think about it, we make a lot of assumptions. And I'm going to give like an example. So for example, when I came to Canada, and I think this is an assumption most of us make, when we see brown-skinned people, we sometimes say, oh, Indian. Oh, that's an Indian, right? But once I started interacting with people, I realized they may be brown-skinned, but some of them come from Bangladesh, others come from Nepal. So I've learned to ask, where do you come from? And people appreciate that, actually. So that's really a powerful takeaway for me. even as I look forward to work with that population, the youth and the children. So my question is around this conference, if I would call it that, or course. I find it very relevant in the sense that this can be a platform where best practices are shared. So do we have anything like that in the larger Atlantic or in Halifax or in any of the provinces where educators come together and share best practices and things like that? Thank you.
We have our annual ASNL conference every year. Lovely lady here, Sandy Gao, she's PL coordinator, and she organizes it all, and she's amazing. And we all ACEs across Newfoundland and Labrador gather, and we talk about our practices, and we share our experiences, and we support each other. And this year, like, I don't think there was a dry eye in the room. It was so emotional, it was amazing. And because everybody feels the same way, everybody can relate to each other because we're all doing the same thing and we all have such a passion for children. So that happens every year in St. John's, Newfoundland.
So in PI, we often have like 2 conferences, like spring and fall conferences, and those are like major conferences. And instead of those conferences, we also do like different, like the ECDA also do like different workshops that focus on like different developmental things, also for like children and for educators and for families as well. Yeah. So there is a big platform. Like in those conferences, like all the educators all across the province, they meet like under one roof and they share their ideas. Yeah.
I believe the Early Childhood Association put on like a diversity workshop this year. That was pretty big on bringing early childhood educators together. A lot of different centers came together at that workshop.
In New Brunswick, in our district, in our sector that I'm at, we would come together in September, and it would be like owners, operators would come together, and they would have a chance to share what their educators need. This is what we are facing in our centers right now. I need more supports in this, but at the same time, I need more opportunities for my staff to be able to learn this. They want to learn more about this. They want to learn more about this. And also an acknowledgement of me days. We also do a me day where it's a chance for all the educators to come together, and it's a time, it's like a self-care day where you can just relax and reflect and be together, united. I'm very fortunate to have a very lovely early childhood development team. My consultant is amazing, and everyone works very hard in that department to make sure that all the needs are met throughout the department. So I'm very fortunate.
I came back up here because that question actually is one of the reasons why we're hosting this event and why we have a number of people coming together from across Atlantic Canada. So our network has been really thinking about the ways that we can bring together all of the individual provincial jurisdiction workshops, the things that the professional development associations do in both Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland and Labrador, and leverage the wealth of knowledge and resources and expertise. We are talking tomorrow about the potential in our network meeting of hosting an Atlantic-wide network event, a professional development event. So hearing that question makes me really inspired to continue that conversation tomorrow.
I have one more thought. I have another one. See, things keep popping in your head afterwards, and the mic goes down. You go, oh, I have another thought. But we also, we have a book study as well, where it's a safe space for educators and owners and directors, so we can dive into different books. We're just working right now on The Collapse of Parenting, which is focusing right now on gentle parenting, on how we as I heard a laugh, where I imagine, so we're all going with that. So it's a chance to have those opportunities to see how do we as educators and operators and directors be able to work with the families where they're at the same time, try to address all the needs that are happening within the classroom as well.
Hi, my name is Martha. Thanks for the very educative session. I have two questions. One is for you. Sorry, I forgot your name. So you said on the issue of the child's culture, teachers were conflicted about what the rule says and what should be allowed. Now, in that situation, if the parent had refused to allow the child to transition from using her hands to using the spoon, what would you have done? Because with the rule regarding health inspection, that child should not be eating with their hands, which means teachers will get in trouble if they allow the child to continue. So how do you create a balance where the parents insist on this and the rule says this?
So I'll say like I was very lucky to work with that family because that family was agreeing on using the spoon. And they were okay like if the child was eating with hands as well. As I mentioned it earlier as well, like I am from India and I am completely normal to like eat with the hands. But let's say like if the family is accepting that, but the rules and regulations are not like up to the thing that child can eat with the hands. So I put that question in one of the conference classroom and the health mentors were there. They were teaching all about health and safety. So they told me, like you can let the children do like what they want to do. Like you can let the child eat with her hands, but also we have to tell the parents about like if we are using the spoon, like why are we doing that? Like how safe it is for her to use the spoon like instead of eating with her hands. I feel like I answered your question. If I did, yeah, so.
Technically, well, we'll go with that. Because for me, I see how sometimes policies make it difficult for teachers to do their work. Because you're torn between what should be and what you're told to do. So sometimes it's hard to actually do what is right by the child when the policy is saying do this. Thank you. My second question, I don't know who said it, but someone said something about how inclusivity can create a barrier to equity. Can you please explain more?
I think that was me. So inclusion means all children are included, no matter their circumstances. And with that comes equity. When the children are faced with inequity, then when there's no inclusion, there's no equity. Do you know what I mean? And it's really important, especially now, like I said, going back to having supports in the room. Without that support, then we're not able to support the children in our room, which then causes inequity.
Hi. Thank you for such an excellent panel discussion. It was really, really good. My name's Christine, and I'm here at Mount St. Vincent. So I have a question for you. And it was interesting, Moshella, as you said, it went from kind of a micro to a macro, discussion of equity and quality. So I'm going to go right to the macro that you brought forward when you were talking about government and what government needs to do. So this is a really exciting time in our field right now, right? With the Canada-wide Early Learning Childcare Agreement, and there's a big emphasis on creating more spaces. There's a big emphasis on making them more affordable. There have been some moves towards increasing wages, introducing benefits and pensions and so on. But sometimes I worry that the whole notion of quality is being left aside in the rush to create spaces, right? And in the rush to get people out working and to have more affordable spaces. And equity is an issue there too, right? To make sure that all families have some type of access to that. So and this maybe is for whoever wants to answer, but if you had a magic wand and you worked with the government, and you could change any policy or regulation or rule in your, or a few, in your particular jurisdiction with that equity and quality lens in mind, what changes would you make to the systems that you're working within?
Can I? As I said earlier, vacation time, I feel like they should be similar all across the board. I know that there's a difference between nonprofit and private centers, like the funding-wise. I feel like that should be equal. I feel like all centers should have set sick days because it's not fair for one person at a different center to have 3 and somebody else to have 10. That's unfair, especially in a high germ environment. It's just not fair. We have to be outside like at least 45 to 30 minutes a day, which is fine. But also, like, the children are getting sick, which causes the teacher to get sick. If there's only 3 teachers in one classroom, where's that support at? If we had extra support in the classroom, that would be helpful. I just feel like it should be equal all across the board, and the funding should be there. And I will give to everybody else because they're all from different provinces. So.
So as I talked about like the workshop thing, so I'll say like if I will have that magic wand, I'll make it mandatory like everywhere. Yeah, because I feel like those are very, very important to be the part of the education. They're gonna help like parents learn and teachers learn, and when teachers and parents they come on the level where they get to know each other, so it's going to develop like better understanding for children as well.
I mean, how much time do we got still? Yeah, like I'm just gonna go back to what I said. I think that there needs to be one thing I didn't mention too is training. Right now in Newfoundland and Labrador, there's students able to come in the summer and they only have a weekend course, and then they're coming in and working with children, and they're not getting the quality care that we need. So I think that needs to change. So goodbye. Another thing is definitely we should be on salary, like teacher salary, for sure. Thank you. Another thing is, of course, the government support. Like I said again, I want them there all the time. You need to be in the room with us. So yeah, that's definitely another thing I would, just for them to know and see what we do every day. Thank you.
I feel like it comes back around to just, we need more communication. I would love more communication. I would love
With the
that we
teachers.
could all go in the room together and communicate, and a decision isn't just this is made and it's final. It's let's all come together, all departments, I'm talking the districts, and even just with the colleges and everything, come together within that department, because we have, at least in New Brunswick, we have our umbrella of the Anglophone East District, where we have our schools, we have our daycare. I'd love if we could communicate together a bit more. I feel like we're this far away from each other and we don't know what's going on with communication. I would love with the colleges as well, when I say youngins, like the young kids come in and there's the chance they're eager, they're ready to go, and they're already burnt out by 2 months in. And just having more opportunities, more communications, more understanding of how it is in this field, but at the same time, getting those chances so they can be more prepared. So I'm all about let's talk. Let's do this. Let's sit down, bring your coffee, bring your tea, bring whatever hot beverage you would like. Let's sit down and talk.
I'd like to add to that a little bit. I think from the beginning, when you started talking and some of the ways in which inequity shows up for you, I'm remembering a conversation I had with my great friend, Trina Frazier, and around how, okay, so I'm slightly biased because the East Preston Daycare is where I got my start. And I think that there are so many things they do right there. And in a conversation with Trina, and it was a bit in passing, she mentioned that some of that success is due to the fact that they have a family resource center connected to them. And so this idea of having a space where you could communicate with family, where you can understand families and what are their needs right now, and what do we need to know, and we can communicate with community on, we need this in the center right now, who can, all of that happens and is facilitated through this connection of daycare and community. And I think when you're asking about what would I say to the department is like, how do we connect community to centers more? Can we create some hubs where there could be a sharing of knowledge and where staff can go, like the community center offers, you know, wellness days, and there are ways to connect with each other, maybe a book club on what's happening right now, what's the latest information around child development and education. And I just think, and Trina, I don't know if you want to add to that, but I think as we were talking, I'm like, it is the answer. Like it is an answer. It's a viable answer. So that's what I'd say.
Hello. Hi. I'm Aria. I am a student here at MSVU, and I want to thank all of you for coming out and traveling and being with us tonight. I had a question in regards to your own personal practices. How do you, in working with pre-literate children, especially infants and young toddlers, how do you ensure that you are building an equitable environment for them? Because they're not at the place where they can verbally have different conversations in circle time, where they can share and explain their needs. So I was just curious how, with those children who can't verbally communicate yet or have written language or art, how you work to create that equity for them.
So we do it with their toys. So like having different color babies in the classroom, that makes a lot of difference. Having those books in the reading area, that makes a lot of difference. Having those picture illustrations, like from different backgrounds and from different cultures, that makes a big difference. And then singing songs with them, dancing with them. Even if you know like a little bit about what's going on with them, like from where they are, and you just took like a little piece of it and then just stick it somewhere, like in the big classroom, stick it somewhere, it's gonna show up. Yeah.
Adding to what Navneet said, by letting them lead, so joining their imagination, asking them questions. They might have a train in their hand, but that could be an airplane. You might be walking up the stairs with your 6 kids, but maybe we want to jump like frogs, and that's okay sometimes. It's okay to jump like a frog or walk like a bear up the stairs sometimes. Just letting them lead, because sometimes when you stop their imagination, it's hard for them to be themselves. So just let them lead.
We actually have 3 more people with questions. I know for time, I was going to ask somebody as a timekeeper here, and I don't have a watch, but I think 3, and then we probably have to close. Yeah, quick. Okay, so you want it?
Hi, sorry, my name is Annette Camo. I'm here at Mount St. Vincent University. When we were talking about this, I kept thinking about the relationship between rules and equity. And when we were talking about the child who was eating with her hands and about this idea that there are rules, health rules, and I kept thinking, but who's making those rules and what is their lens? And I think we have to be really careful about that and maybe push back on that, because if there's a whole country, thousands of people eating with their hands and they're fine, why with our sort of, view here in this world to suggest that that's not an acceptable way to eat? I do know that at the Child Study Center, we've been thinking a lot about this because the department has been asking us to look at the way that we approach food through a cultural lens. And we've actually been asking parents and looking for, maybe there's days when we're going to eat with our hands because that's the type of food that we're going to be eating. And we've even thought about how can we get practice chopsticks to work with so that we can expose our children to all of the different ways that people eat around the world. But I think that's just one tiny example, because when there's a rule and if someone's coming up against that rule, you really have to think about, why is it there? Is it necessary? And is it culturally inappropriate? Thanks.
I think it's important to, like, with newcomers coming in and also like African Nova Scotians and some cultures are already here in Canada. I think it's important to include, I know they aren't just readjusted the nutrition policy or whatever, but I feel like it's a great thing to include, like, one day on Mondays we have curry, and this is how we eat curry in my culture, or like resources on how you should eat curry. You can eat it with your hands, or you can eat it with a spoon, or you can eat it with naan bread. I feel like that would be a great thing for the government to include in the nutrition policy. Maybe they can relook at it, because that's important too, because like, you could just have a salad, but maybe we want to eat lettuce with our hands. That's fine.
I have a friend who owns a daycare, and she had told me that every one of her staff is from a different culture. And each one of them is able to bring and introduce something from their culture to the children, and that they're going home and then showing this to the families, which is so enriching. And it's and they take advantage of this. It's like every day there's something new that they get to learn, they get to take home.
Okay. All right. My name is Orinari Francis Wokoma. I'm a student of Mount St. Vincent University. I think I've been doing a bit of reflection, and so sometimes I'm a bit metaphoric when I do reflections, so this is more of a comment. There might be certain things that may resonate with you, whichever you can build on that. I will just read it because of time. We are all children in different spaces and different phases of life. Equity cuts across all facets of our life as children. As immigrants, we are children in our early stages of life here in Canada. Equity in early childhood has a much more deeper symbolic meaning to me that requires a more critical research, probably participatory, probably ethnographic, but one that addresses a broader social challenges that confronts us all as children. As we engage in discourses like this, we are also promoting equity in children today and also for a better tomorrow. So I just want to encourage us all in whatever we are doing to keep up the good work. It is praxis, they say, is a constituent of reflection and action. And what we are doing in this space is taking action over things that we have reflected on, and we're building on it. And gradually we believe that we'll have change and a better society for ourselves as children. Thank you.
Thank you.
think mine is more just of a comment. I'm Trina Frazier. I'm the executive director of the East Preston Daycare and Family Resource Center, but also faculty within NSCC, in person and eCampus. I was just sitting here thinking, like, I remember being in this room probably 26 years ago with you, Miss Michelle, when I was new to the field. And I did not see a reflection of who I am as an African Nova Scotian. I just want to say that lately I've been in many spaces within Mount St. Vincent University, within NSCC, and I want to say that I see an amazing reflection of who we are as Nova Scotia. And I guess my biggest comment is to say that, and I want to call you out, Miss Carey, because we all started out together, and some of us later on in life. So just sitting here alongside my colleagues, couple of you, it gives me honor to say that I'm here. And Dantea, I will not let tonight go without sharing the fact that you've been a spokesperson, you've been an ally, you are newer into the field. And what I want to say to the younger ECEs, wow, 26 years old. 26 years ago, I was the young ECE. And I just want to say to you, Dante, and anybody else that is new into the field, be that ally, be that person who will advocate for the field, because this is our Nova Scotia, and our Nova Scotia is looking beautiful and more each day. And I'll stop.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a great Q&A. That was so great. Thank you for all of your contributions to the evening, the discussion. It was just so rich with ideas that I hope that we're all leaving in our hearts and in our minds to do what we do in the field of early childhood and so many facets of the work that we do in research, policy, and practice. Thank you very much to our panel. Just one more round of applause for them. This is a big risk for people to get up on the stage to do it, and you all did so wonderful. Thank you so much for your stories, for your knowledge, for your experiences. I'm just so excited to continue working with all of you and continuing to learn with you. So thanks again for coming this evening. A special thanks to those that took part in planning today's event. To all the pink shirt team, the ECCRC team, thank you so much. Couldn't do it without you. I'm so lucky to work with such an incredible team. And to the generous support of the Margaret Moss McCain Family Foundation and to our network partners. This is just the beginning of our stories together for the network. We will be continuing our work tomorrow. We will take all of your insights and contributions forward with us into our discussions. And the final point, if you require a professional development certificate, please see us at the desk. We'll be happy to give you that. There's also a survey that we ask that you complete to give us some feedback on today's event. And I think Jeannie wants to say something.
I love how all I do is turn on the mic, and you know. I also just wanted to say sorry to the folks. There are so many more questions people have, and
Yeah.
I also just wanted to say thank you for coming with your listening lens, with your ideas. This is not the end of a conversation. Everyone is pretty reachable, and I really encourage whatever questions you have. There's none too big, too small, and comments are great. So that's all. It was very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and good night.